Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do another beginner trials guide. We're going to have one build for each of the subclasses all in one video. We'll have timestamps as well in the video so you guys can jump around to your favorite class. But these setups are more for like newer returning players or people who are going to like dip into PvP for like the first couple times since the expansions dropped. So what I'm trying to do is mainly these builds are gonna be focused on the armor setups as well as the exotics and class setups because weapons I think are gonna be mostly personal preference, but I'm gonna try to give a couple pointers on weapons as well. So for the hunter build today, I want to do something a little bit different, something I haven't tried in a little bit. The young Ahamkara spine. So what these exotics do is that they buff your trip mine duration and your blast radius. They also give them a little bit more damage as well. And then whenever we cause ability damage, we're going to get trip mine energy refunded. So what that really means is because our trip mines are wider, they last longer, and they do more damage, it's going to be very easy for these trip mines to kind of loop into themselves, causing your grenade to come back even faster. You can spam these as much as you want. We're also going to pair it with a 100 discipline stat. Now, you could go even higher on discipline to buff the damage of the trip mines, but I think it's not quite as worth it to buff the trip mines too much because then you're kind of losing out on your other stats, and my armor isn't even the best. So again, as the expansion progresses, people will have better and better armor, so this will be even a little bit more effective. But the reason we're stopping at exactly 100 is because that is where you get the maximum ability cooldown benefit. Any grenade stat past 100 will only buff your damage. So I think the 100 is the sweet spot where you get the fastest cooldown. Other thing as well, you want around 100 super. Just looking at some other people play, I haven't played New Trials yet, but looking at some of the people playing, you definitely need 100 super or close to it to get your super. The way the super stat is scaling, it's going to be very difficult to get your super unless you're really popping off if you don't have a 100 super stat. So if you would like to get your super, definitely would recommend using high intellect or super stat as well. And then after that, I kind of just dumped the rest into health. Now, ideally, my health stat would be even a little bit higher. Around that like 160, 170, 180 mark is where you really start seeing the health benefits to the with your shield recharge rate. But obviously my armor isn't the greatest yet, so I just dumped whatever we have. We have 139. It'll have to do for now. If we go to the Gunslinger subclass, of course, we're going to use Blade Barrage because it's the fastest charging super. So, again, high uptime super with high intellect makes it a lot more likely that you're going to get a super in trials. And as well, this super also shuts down basically every other super in the game. So, obviously, you can get a lot of value from just using your Blade Barrage. Now, dodge-wise, we're going to use Gamblers because it's going to help to refund our melee abilities. It's going to be really nice. Now, it's not quite as good as before Edge of Fate, where you didn't need to invest into your melee stat to get melee energy back. So I guess ideally, you would have 70 melee because that's the breakpoint where you would get a full refund from Gamblers. But again, my armor isn't the greatest, so we're kind of stuck at 39s, but still very nice to be able to get a chunk of your melee back whenever you dodge. Throwing knives, personal preference. I would say if you're newer, I would recommend either the proximity explosive knife because it's like just like another grenade. You can kind of like flush people out, stop reses around corners and stuff. Or I'd go with the lightweight knife. The good thing about these is that they come out instantly, unlike the heavy one-shot throwing knife, and they just have insane tracking and do great damage. They also proc radiant if you get a headshot, and they do also automatically refund if you get a headshot kill with these as well. So lightweight knives, obviously really good. And then of course the star of the build is the trip mine grenade. You can cover great distances, flush people out of cover, and again with the better duration of the trip mine, bigger radius, and more damage that our exotic gloves provide, these things are going to be really dangerous. Aspects, knock them down, and on your mark, knock them down is going to buff our super so more knives come out. And then also when we're radiant, final blows with our throwing knives are going to fully refund our melee. So you can either go with the explosive knife or you can go with the lightweight knife. I would definitely, I'm going to go with the lightweight knife, but if you would like to go explosive knife, I think that is also a great option as well. And then on your mark, very nice aspect. So whenever we dodge, we're going to get a 3 times on your mark stack, giving all of our weapons insane handling and reload speed, just helping the fluidity of the build. And as also, if we get headshot kills, you also do get a nice little handling and reload bonus. These fragments here are mostly for stats. The two that are really nice, that are actually a lot better in this expansion, are Ember of Wonder and Ember of Mercy. Ember of Wonder is really just for the 10 health stat, but Ember of Mercy gives you 10 health and also gives restoration when you revive your teammates, so that's a nice little bonus there. Ember of Char, just because it gives 10 more grenade for our build. Ember of Searing, because 10 class for our build, and also we can spawn additional fire sprites whenever we kill scorched targets. And then Ember of Beams to make the tracking of Blade Barrage better, and also to help our super stat as well. So, other than that, weapon-wise, I'm only really going to have one main thing to say about weapons. Your primary weapon, I'd say, is personal preference. You could modify this build where you take off your health stat and dump into, you know, more weapons to go for something like the, you know, the 2-tapping Igneous. You could go for, let me actually pull it. You could go for a high weapon stat to go for the Last Thursday Pulse with Elemental Honing. But again, when you do realize that when you are going for like some of these like insane like weapon stat builds, that you're going to be losing a lot on your other stats. So just keep that in mind. So personally, I'm going to offer lower weapon stat because I kind of want my other stats to be good. But again, these are totally options if you are going to, you know, use like a high weapon stat build. I also forgot to mention 180 hand cannons are good too. The only thing about special weapons I will say is that you definitely, if you're newer to Trials, I definitely would stay away from sniper rifles because you want to get the maximum value per shot of special because it's so limited. You're going to want something that can, you know, kind of be a defensive tool, stuff that can get you out of sticky situations really easily, and something that you're going to be able to consistently land. So I would either recommend a pellet shotgun, a slug shotgun, or a fusion rifle. I'm going to go with Deadlock here just because it's probably my favorite shotgun. And again, shotguns, you're very easily able to take advantage of special ammo because you only really use it when you need it. If you're playing like a sniper rifle, it's either you hit or you don't. So a lot of times you're using a sniper rifle, you waste the shot and you're kind of stuck only, you know, being able to use your primary weapon. So I think the value of having like a fusion rifle or a shotgun as like a deterrent is very, very valuable. Again, primary weapon I think is mostly up to like your guys' preferences. These auto rifles too are not bad. The Abyss, like these 360s was like the weapon set. These are good as well. The Crota one is pretty good, but I think I'm just going to stick to an Igneous Hammer shotgun setup here, and that's really going to be it. Let's hop straight in the gameplay for the Hunter build. Alright, so let's see what we got to go against here. Let's see what we can do. Rose Shotgun, Invis. You're going to see a lot of Invis as well. Invis are still very strong. Prismatic with a Wormhusk Rose Fusion. And then a Sentinel Titan with Acting Warwick and a Scout. You got to be wary of a Shotgun hand cannon as well if you push close. Now, we just got to put in damage and find grenade opportunities we're going to take advantage. I really like pushing inside on this map because a lot of the times when you push outside, you can't really get a good angle on people. Looks like our teammate gets a nice little pick right there. Got some good damage on the right there. Drop a trip mine there, just so he helps try to help his teammate. We can maybe hit him with a trip mine. Let's help our teammate hold down, try to pick up this res. Let's grab it right here. Just hold our primary out. We don't need to be super aggressive. Deal with the guy on the barricade, and perfect. Unfortunately, our grenade did not tag anybody, so we're not going to get any refunds. But, again, we do have high grenades, so we're going to get our grenade within the minute. It's also a little bit more difficult to take advantage of the grenade when you're playing on the outside area. Not as many walls, but on the inside, you'll have plenty of use for it. I pushed mid. That was probably a bad decision, considering both my teammates went outside, but kind of wanted to take mid control because it's usually hard to push from this outside area if you're not like pushing in fast to take control of the top bridge area. That was a bad decision there. This time I'm going to try to follow teammates here, I think. Let's see where they go. They're going to go outside here, which is not a bad decision. Let's walk up a little bit to see if we can help our teammates here. Drop a throwing knife. Our throwing knife registered a little late, so we only got the trade. Then our teammate gets picked. Ooh, gets a nice trade there. Nice. So not the worst, not the worst. It is also very powerful to take the high ground on this map. You can obviously control the heavy. If you get posted up on high ground, you can easily, you know, team shot if you're up at mid. But as you can see, like when you're like stuck outside, it's a lot harder to. Oh, so we got a nice little trip mine tag right there. So we got most of our. I think we got most of our ability back, and we were also able to clean up, but not quite able to win the round. But that's what I'm talking about. If you're like playing around that like area where we were at the start of the round, it's very hard to like take control of the map. So that's why personally I'm not the biggest fan of playing outside, off the rip, because obviously you can't see as much. That's why I kind of like going mid to take control of the map a little bit, and then, you know, obviously you can work your way out. You get a little bit more angles. So I help our teammate here finish it up with the shotgun. It does seem like you get special ammo every single round, so it's not like there's a crazy snowballing effect where if you're rolling, you obviously get more special ammo with the leader. It always seems like you get one every single round, so that is nice. I'm going to keep going mid. I just got to be cautious if they do end up team shotting mid. Let's just take this angle here. Be a little aggressive. We actually got really lucky there that we didn't die. Let's go back and see if we can get our teammates res. Choked that. We almost got that free tab. Let's go back mid and see if we can stop this res. Maybe there's someone trying to push it. Play this little head glitch here. Let's back up a little bit. Sure, mine tags him for 170. He's gonna be burning for a while, so let's push. Blaze one. Perfect. And then obviously, look, you got our full trip mine refunded. So, very, very nice. So now we have another trip mine to take another duel with. We had a slow start to the game, but again, gotta get a little bit. So I haven't trial since I've been here for a couple weeks, so I gotta get back at the flow there. But as you can see, our super is coming up at a reasonable rate. If it looks like if this goes 4-4, we might get a super. Let's throw a trip mine right there, and obviously with the large blast radius, we can clean them up, and we got almost half of our grenade back right there. Let's turn around and see if we can get the trade here. He's gonna go for the res. We gotta take this win. Run back. Let's try to get back and maybe we can challenge him. We do have a throwing knife, but no special, so we gotta be wary. Let's try to get our teammates res, because now he's gonna have his teammate up. Let's get this crate, so if we get pushed, we can defend ourselves. Get our taps right there. And go nice little shots right there, but we'll take that. Obviously, you can see that first grenade kill, because the trip mine radius is so wide, it's very hard to avoid the trip mines if they're thrown well. And obviously, the giant ability refund is also very nice as well. So let's look on mid here. Tapped him 90. We got suppressed. Let's back up a little bit because they're gonna have a huge advantage with our ability suppressed. Maybe they over peek and we could team shot them. Nice little kill from our teammate. Teammate gets smoked. We gotta be worried. Let's have our shotgun out just in case we get pushed. Miss our shotgun, very unfortunate. Bad aim right there, but we do deal with him. We're probably dead to this strand melee, I'm assuming. Oh, we missed our knife. If we'd headshot him and then maybe hit him with a igneous headshot, we could have killed him, but because we had some messy shots on that guy we did end up killing, we didn't keep quite as much of our health for the next duel, so that was a little bit unfortunate. We're very close to a Blade Barrage. 100 super, very, you know, showing its worth already. Let's look mid, just in case he challenges. He's trying to wrap around. You can kind of see the radar ping. He is 2 taps. Nice, able to clean him up right there. Perfect. Let's play by our teammate's Rift. I believe that thing is a Strand clone. Let's throw a trip mine out to maybe get people off the bridge. We can walk up a little bit. We should be trying to end this with our super before they get anything. But we only get 1. That's pretty unfortunate. But it is a 2v1. He does have special ammo, so I think my teammates can clean this up. That was a bad super. I really should be more wary of the pings. We got a nice little 3-tier machine gun. 2-3 machine gun, not bad. But Again, that's really the trip mine build. Kind of just trying to throw your grenades in spots off the walls that cover huge distances. We had a kind of a messy start, but we did kind of clean it up in the end. But let's get straight into the next build here. All right, so now we have the Titan build here. We're going to play the Striker subclass here as well. We're going to pair our subclass mainly with the Crest of Alpha Lupi chest piece. What this is going to do is it's going to generate orbs from our supers, so that's going to be really nice, for our teammates. And then whenever we make a barricade, again, dealing sustained damage or defeating targets is going to create a healing pulse. And whenever we cast our barricade, we're going to get a healing pulse. And healing our allies is going to grant a barricade energy. Now, why is this barricade so good other than the healing? It's because we're also going to use the Storm's Keep aspect. This is going to be really good for playing safe, being able to team shot, because when you are standing behind the Storm's Keep barricade, your bolt charge is going to increase. And then as well, your when your stack's at 10, if you're standing behind the barricade and you shoot somebody, you're going to hit somebody with the bolt charge, and it's going to do a nice chunk of damage. Really, really nice for team shotting. We're also going to use Rally Barricade so we can get this barricade as fast as possible. With 100 class ability energy, our barricade is going to be coming back in 19 seconds, and that is not counting the healing that our Alpha Lupi is doing. So whenever, again, we heal somebody with a barricade, our barricade is going to come back even faster than 19 seconds. So we're going to be able to spam these a lot, and we're going to be very difficult to challenge when we're in a barricade. Obviously, it is a, because we're using a Rally Barricade, it is like a summonable head glitch, so you can kind of put it down and then peek in and out, so very valuable. It also buffs your stability, reload speed, and range on your weapons, so your weapons are a lot more effective. And then, of course, again, the bolt charge. It's just a very, very insane combo. Now, again, if you want to use like different weapons, maybe like the Last Thursday Pulse Rifle from Kepler, you're going to use like the 180 hand cannons. You would want like a higher weapon stat to make those builds work. But because my Titan armor isn't that great, I'm just going to run, we'll focus on other stats, because the weapon stat investment obviously is very high for some of those builds. So again, 100 class, so we can get our barricades back as fast as possible. Then we also have 100 super, of course, so we can get our super the fastest. If you don't have 100 super, it's going to be very difficult to get your super in trials unless you're really popping off. And then the rest, I would honestly dump it to health, but my armor is so bad that my health is actually like a lot lower than it probably will be again when I have better builds. But again, I would go class and intellect first, and then dump the rest into health. In terms of aspects, again, you want Storm's Keep, so when you're having sitting behind your bolt charge barricade, you're going to get the bolt charge, and as well as great team shotting with your teammates. Knockout, great close range defensive tool, as well as being aggressive. So whenever you get a kill with knockout, you're gonna get your health back. And then whenever you break someone's shield, your melee damage is going to be increased, and your lunge range is going to be insane. Knockout, obviously, the most important aspect here, just for playing like a Titan. Grenade-wise, I would say it's personal preference. I would probably go with Pulse Grenade if you're newer, because it's just very easy to use. You kind of just throw it on a res, you can block it, force people out of cover. Just a very solid grenade overall, easy to use. Now, in terms of melee ability, I would probably go with Seismic Strike, just because it's a nice little movement tool to get yourself from position to position. Obviously, if you don't have a crazy high melee stat investment, it's going to take a little bit, even with, like not actually hitting somebody with a Seismic Strike to get your melee back. But it is a nice little movement tool, and, it does a good amount of damage if you actually hit somebody. So I would definitely recommend a Seismic Strike. Jump-wise, if you're on controller and you're not using like the paddles, I would recommend using Strafe Lift, because you can't like input the jump as fast. But if you're on mouse and keyboard, I would definitely recommend, or like you're on like one of those like paddled controllers, I'd recommend using Catapult Lift, because you can spam the input really fast. And this is actually like the fastest jump. Rally Barricade, I think for this build is gonna be really good. Normally I would use Towering Barricade because it's really good for getting reses, but I think having the Rallycade being super spammable with this build is going to be really nice, as well as it still does create a ginormous amount of pressure. It's a very strong deterrent. People see the Storm Keep barricade, and they're not going to want to peek you. Super-wise, really personal preference. They both have the same, they're the same tier super, so you get whichever one you want. I'm just going to use Fist of Havoc rather than Thunder Crash, but again, you can really use any super you want. Fragment-wise, we have Spark of Magnitude, so our Pulse Grenades last longer. We use Spark of Feedback, which is going to buff our health, and whenever we take a melee hit, our next melee attack is going to do a lot more damage. Spark of Volts for 10 class. The finishers obviously aren't going to have like an effect in PvP, but it's a nice little boost to 10 class. This last fragment is really personal preference. I like Spark of Frequency because whenever you hit someone with your melee, your weapons get reloaded and you get some extra stability. But if you go with something like Spark of Haste, where your health stat is increased when you're sprinting, you can go with Spark of Resist to get more melee and get some damage resist. You can go with Spark of Recharge, so when you're wounded, you get your abilities back faster. You could even go with like Spark of Shock, to where your Arc Grenades Jolt. This last fragment, I'd say, is definitely a personal preference. I'm just going to use Spark of... I'm probably going to use... Actually, I'm going to use Spark of Haste, actually, since my health stat is so low. But, again, this last fragment, I think, is a personal preference here. Again, build-wise, or weapon-wise, again, use something that's comfortable. You don't have to really worry about, I think, the weapon stat too much, unless you're, using one of those, like, cheesy weapon stat weapons. So just... I would say have a longer range primary, just because you can put pressure out from a safe distance and you can kind of play around your barricade. Special weapon, you want something that is like a close range turret, something where if people are jumping on top of you, you have something, to instantly one-shot them. So definitely fusions, slugs, shotguns, all those are great. Again, stay away from the snipers because it's very easily just to waste ammo and like not get any value from a sniper shot. So I'm going to use the Igneous and the Deadlock like I did on the Hunter build. And that's really going to be it. Let's get straight into the gameplay. Alright guys, I think the key with this build is just going to be playing a lot slower than I normally do, to kind of show off how good the Bolt Charge Barricade is, but we'll obviously just adapt to situations. Again, my armor is horrendous on my Titan, so my build is not amazing, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have better stats than I do on my Titan, so let's rock with it. Let's put our Barricade on bridge here to contest this bridge area. Got our Bolt Charge. They got a lot of stasis. But look, we've already got another barricade. Let's just keep holding... Oh, I take it back. We should not keep holding bridge. They could funnel through, but... Did already have our barricade. That was actually kind of crazy. Unfortunately, I think get our teammates. But oh, he actually gets a nice draw with his red limbs. They totally, like, locked that bridge off, man, with those stasis crystals. Actually got me good. But we already have another barricade. Let's actually work towards mid and see if we can kind of contest this with a barricade. He's gonna push up close. So got our shotty ready. Let's get out over here, get a better angle. Oh, we only traded. I let him walk up a little bit too aggressively there. Some guy was able to get to my right, and I kind of flabbergasted and missed my shotgun. It's okay, though. Let's work towards mid. We're very close to another barricade. Let's see if we can take bridge control so we get a little bit of high ground. Take one out. Let's drop a rally barricade to see if we can pick up our teammate. Nice little Bolt Charge action there. Perfect. Let's see if we can work towards our teammate now. Get his res. Let's back up a little bit. Let's have a barricade towards this corner here. That way if he jumps over, we can hit him with a little Bolt Charge action. Gets our teammate. Let's play it nice and slow. Nice teammate gets him. But look how fast our barricade is also coming back. So we can really spam these. And if we do happen to heal our teammates again, our barricade does come back even faster. So the spam ability that this build has is pretty ridiculous.
I'm discussing your mother.
Let's switch out this one. And then we'll walk up here, put one in barricade on the high ground. We can contest, not quite contest heavy. We'll take the kill right there. Let's walk up again. Three tap right there. Let's back up a little bit, get our health back. We don't quite have a barricade. Let's drop a pulse grenade in a second here to see if we can stop this res. Use Bolt Charge. Nice. Hit him up right there. Perfect. We do have another barricade up again. I think, again, the amount of bolt charge barricades you can get with the 100 class is insane. You could also even opt for even more class to get overshields with your rally barricade. That wouldn't be a horrible option either, but at least my current build, it's not quite good enough to pull that off, I don't think yet. Gotta beware of those stasis crystals. Let's see if we can break them. Nice little shots there. We're slowed. Let's back up a little bit. Charge him with a shotgun. Clean him up. Perfect. We got another barricade already. And again, you can use like really any primary, I'd say. Anything that can take those medium to long range duels is going to be effective. Because you want to be able to contest like long angles with your barricade. Let's actually walk up mid again and see if we can just kind of deter them with it. Oh, they're pushing up really fast. Let's actually back up so they don't get jumped on. Show a barricade right here. Always 1 HP. You might have our full charge ready. He's wrapping around on us. Just 2 taps. I shot him right there. Drop a rally barricade here so he can't stop us from getting his res. The rally barricade is healing as well with the bolt charge. Perfect. We have another one back, basically. I think ideally if I had like the most optimized build, I'd probably even opt for like use the Kevlar 2 bursting pulse, and then I would probably have like still like great stats all around, like the high class, high intellect or super. Little bolt charge gets the 2 tap right there. Let's turn around. Get some team shots going. Throw a little pulse grenade in there. And we win. Nice. Perfect. Yeah, it's such a nice build. Ooh, we got some nice boots. Probably better than what we have here. Ooh, dang. 30 health and 21 class. That is really nice. I might actually use those. Alright, so awesome. We'll take that as well. I just say we have a 23 combat efficiency. That's so weird, but let's get to the Warlock build now. Alright guys, now for the last build. You probably guys have seen my stag build before, but it's such a great thing. I'm going to show it off again for the beginner setup here. Now, if we go with the stag, obviously our rifts are going to provide us additional damage resist, and whenever we get to the red health, we're going to get a giant chunk of rift energy back. And whenever we die, a rift will spawn on our dead body. So this whole loop is really going to be playing around your healing rift, getting that extra damage resist, having that overshield, the constant health regen. It's going to be such a nice build. Obviously, we're going to have 100 class, so we can get our rift back as fast as possible. And then, of course, 100 intellect into, you know, making your super come back as fast as possible. And then the rest into health. Obviously, my build isn't the greatest. I have some of these old armor pieces, but I think it should be fine for the purposes of this video. Subclass-wise, we're going to use Touch of Flame and Icarus Dash. Icarus Dash for some nice movement, be able to get from spot cover to cover. Obviously, just great escaping tool. And then Touch of Flame here is going to buff our grenades, so we're going to use the Firebolt grenade. And what Touch of Flame does for the Firebolt grenade is that it's going to make our Firebolts tag from longer range, and they're also going to be able to tag more targets. So makes these Firebolt grenades very easy to land. They do a decent chunk of damage. So I think like they do like 65 damage, and they start scorching you. So obviously it's a great deterrent. People who hit with the Firebolt grenade, they can't get their health back. So a really strong grenade that's easily spammable too as well. We only have 70 discipline, but we actually get this grenade back at only 32 seconds. So it's going to be really easy to spam these grenades. And it's actually going to be even faster to get these when I show you how the rest of the class works. Then we have Incinerator Snap. Nice little close range melee here to you know, deal with people who are pushing. Very strong. Burst Glide because it's the jump that moves the fastest. Healing Rift, of course, because we're going to want the Overshield and the constant healing for the Healing Rift to hold down these power positions on the map. Then Well of Radiance because it's the fastest charging super. Combined with the 100 intellect, you can kind of just plop this super on the zone, and usually it's a free round win if they don't have a super themselves. Now for fragments. Ember of Searing, so we get some additional class. And then whenever we defeat a scorched target, we're going to spawn a fire spirit as well, helping loop those abilities. Then we have Ember of Benevolence here. So whenever we apply Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to allies, we're going to get increased grenade, melee, and class ability regen. So the way we're going to proc this is if any of our teammates touch our Healing Rift once, it's going to proc this. And that's going to help our grenade come back faster, our melee come back faster, and our rift come back faster. So really important fragment here. Even if it does nerf a grenade stat, it is definitely worth it. Then Ember of Mercy, we're going to get 10 health. And then we also, whenever we revive an ally, we're going to get some restoration. And also picking up a Fire Sprite is also going to give us restoration. Really nice fragment here, giving us some health and a nice little bonus effect. And the last fragment is going to be Ashes, so we can apply more Scorch stacks with our Fireball grenades and our Incinerator Snap, making these grenades a little bit more potent, and the melee as well a little bit more potent. Again, like I said earlier, you definitely want 100 class, and then 100 super, and then probably the rest into health. The rest of the abilities, like melee and grenade, already loop so fast anyway with Ember of Benevolence, you don't really need these. And again, you want a long range primary, so I'm just going to use an Igneous Hammer here. I haven't transferred over the other one, but just really I'm just going to use an Igneous Hammer, long range primary, so you can kind of contest the longer angles you have when you're sitting in your Healing Rift. And then a special weapon that is like a strong deterrent for people who try to push you up close. So again, shotgun, slugs, and fusion rifles all work in this slot. But again, weapon-wise, personal preference. And again, you can always change this build. If you're going for like the last Thursday Pulse, or 180 hand cannon, you can opt more into weapons to fit your build and kind of achieve those breakpoints. But that's really going to be it. I guess mod-wise as well, it's just going to be unflinchings for your primary, dexterities for your primary and your secondary, and then targeting's mainly for your primary as well, and then one holster for your special weapon, and then I would have probably better already so you can get your health back. Class ability or class item, probably using something like Reaper, so you can get a orb that's spawned after you get a kill, and then Outreach and Bomber to get your abilities back a little bit faster. But that's really going to be it. Let's get straight in the gameplay. So we got Invis Hunter Graviton, gotta watch out for the Stasis Shot. Then we have a Last Thursday of Wrath of Doom combo. And then we have an Angry Bones. Let's see if he's rocking the 2 bursting. Yes, he is. So we gotta be wary. He's got the high weapons as well, so gotta be wary for his 2 bursts, so we gotta play tight to cover. Let's work towards high ground here. We can set up a Healing Rift. Set up a Healing Rift in my corner. And we don't really have to worry too much about the nades, because again, we do have Stagger kind of helping us hold it down. Let's throw a Firebolt too, to kind of annoy him. Let's push him while he's weak. Shotgun that guy. Oh, he's lagging. The TP. Oh, okay. Great game. But yeah, well, you can tank so much extra damage when you're sitting in a Stag Rift. It's very hard to actually get you off an area that people are trying to go to. Let's actually keep working towards the high ground again. I imagine there'll be someone pushing the bridge area, so start healing from the corner. And with peek, we can get a little damage resist. Scatter grenade, we can eat that no problem. Get our health back. Nade, smoke nade, not a big worry either. Teammates down. Let's work towards our other teammate because he got a pick. Nice little outbreak shots. Throw a firebolt there. Got him 1. Perfect. Yeah, the firebolt grenade is basically like a guaranteed tag. As long as you throw it in the line of sight of somebody. And obviously, it doesn't matter how high their health stat is if they're getting constantly scorched. So, it does a really good job of keeping people one shot with the extra scorch. So, we work towards high ground again. But again, if we get to the red health, we do get a nice little bump in our Rift energy as well. We can play the cover on the high ground. And they're not really shooting back. Perfect. We got 2. He does have Gravitons. Ooh. Oh, that guy really got a crazy 1v3. Good on him. We did get 2, but then we weren't able to quite switch to our shotgun to get the last one. So not the best round right there, but still okay. Making decent progress in the super engine. Let's work towards mid so we can kind of contest the heavy ammo. Oh, it looks like there's multiple players, so I'm actually going to back out. So I don't want to get team shotted. We can fight outside. I'm trying to get to the high ground here and set up my Healing Rift. Set up the Healing Rift, and then we can peek when we have the advantage. That Stasis Shot is less threatening again when we have the Overshield helping us. as well. Let's keep holding mid for our team. With the healing rift, we can kind of just tank a lot of this damage. Teammate said he's probably going to peek out left. Let's hold this left here. Oh, he missed. Got our shotgun kill. We got to crouch, stay off radar. Let's get to the corner. Let's slide. We got to do something to be aggressive. Ooh, we got the trade, but not quite able to get the last one. Sometimes when you're one shot, your only like play is to like be aggressive because they could make a mistake giving you a free kill. So that's kind of why I slid him, even though I was one shot. Try to make something happen. Not able to get the final blow or the third one though. Let's set up a healing rift for high ground again. There's one guy trying to peek mid. He's by himself. Let's keep crouching here. He's not. Looks like he's not peeking, so we can help our teammate on this corner here. Again, this high ground is super strong when you're sitting in a healing rift. It's very hard to test you. We don't have any special ammo or super energy, or sorry, not totally blanking. Don't have any rip energy. We're just gonna run at that guy. Sorry, that was a bad description. We ran at that guy because we didn't have any rip energy, and if we kind of stood there, we were gonna get team shotted. So we kind of had to make something happen. We don't have our rift, so let's work towards mid where there's a little bit more cover. Looks like there's two people here. So I might have to actually run and get out in a second. Like Chris to actually get out. Work our way towards the corner. Again, kind of be aware of the radar pings. Look out for potentially anybody who's flanking. They can kind of crouch, get that first shot on them, and then maybe even get a little bit of team shots. We do have our healing rift in a second. Let's grab the special, and then once we grab the special, we'll set up our healing rift on top of the throne here. Looks like there's someone trying to wrap right. Let's look for him. Again, that elemental honing pulse cannot burst you if you're just sitting in the damage resist healing rift. He's gonna try to peek again, so let's just keep holding right. Perfect. We can get that nice little chunk of damage on him. He's gonna try to jump the shotgun us. We got our shotgun ready. We can just firebolt him right there. Didn't kill him, but he's one shot for our teammate, and now it's an easy win. You get that. I think right there it shows the importance of a shotgun. It's not like you're proactively using your shotgun whenever you're playing Trials. It's more of a defensive tool. Again, if somebody's jumping on top of you, then you kind of have a way to defend yourself in those like closer range engagements. Let's push outside this time. We can set up a healing rift on this box here. Someone's trying to peek us from the left. We can just sit in our healing rift. That nade really doesn't do that much to us. Oh, we got teamed again. A little bit unfortunate our teammates died. That's why I kind of don't like playing outside, because if you're playing around those areas where my teammates and I were, then you're not really a lot of exit plans, not a lot of cover to work with. So I kind of like, contesting that. Let's go to high ground here. See if we can get to bridge. Let's crouch just in case someone may peek bridge. There's a smoke bomb. There should be one more person on the other side of the bridge. Ooh, we tapped him once. Not quite able to get the teams off for that. There's someone trying to wrap around on us. Let's see if we can maybe team shot him. He's two tap. Let's slide aggressively. Perfect. We can finish him off. Let's drop the healing rift here so we can kind of hold for our teammates' res. Drop a firebolt to prevent that res. Perfect. So now he's scorched. He can't get the res for a second. Now we can jump up. Yeah, we can 3-tap the res. And teammates able to clean them up. Perfect. And if it would have gone 4-4, we would have had our well ready. So, ooh, forgiveness as well. That is pretty good. I'm excited for this weapon. Nice. Perfect. Nice little win there. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the beginner trials guide. I know, again, some of these builds aren't like super perfected in terms of armor, but again, that's like a good starting point to show off. You don't need like the craziest builds to pull, or like armor sets to pull these builds off. You just need, again, like the basic exotic, and then maybe, you know, like some investment, I guess, in your super stat and whatever else you may need. So thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys got something useful from this, and I'll catch you guys next time.